Alright, so on to the passage 1. Now they say this is passage 1, but I'm very confused because this does not look like a passage 1. This is actually a passage 3, and they've called it a passage 1. I don't know why they do this, just to make everything more confusing. The first reason why it's not passage 1 is because of the topic. Usually for passage 1 they talk about quite a simple topic, like a thing, like an animal, or a kind of food, or a kind of plant, or something like that. And then passage 3, they talk about some abstract topic. Know that word abstract, it's a great word for you to learn. And this is definitely an abstract idea. It's a concept, it's not a thing, it's an idea. And that's more passage 3. How can engineers learn from dance? This is not a thing, this is an idea. So that's the first reason why this is passage 3. And the second reason is, of course, because look at these question types. I mean, this is very much passage 3, maybe passage 2 question type. And then, yes, this is usually passage 2 or 3 as well. It's just a gap fill, so it can be passage 1, but usually the summary plus this, it's very common in passage 3 and sometimes passage 2. So there's 2 reasons why this is not a passage 1. This is a passage 3, but they've called it passage 1. Maybe because it's slightly easier, it might be, but I don't think so. I don't know why they do this, just to make everybody confused. Anyway, what are we going to do? We're going to look at our question types. We're going to see this and think, okay, no, I'll do that later. Let's go straight for the summary. So we're going to try and find that, and maybe that. What else have we got here? Pedestrians, maybe. Pedestrians again. Now they've divided it into 2 paragraphs. Be aware of that. That might mean that it's 2 paragraphs in the text, and it might mean that it's just from 1 paragraph that they divided. I would say usually it means there's 2 paragraphs in the text, but not always. Psychological, maybe. There's nothing really great to scan for here. Road, guardrails, difficult transport. So that's all I can really see. It's not great at all. The only really nice thing is British. But I mean, they could paraphrase that to UK. Anyway, so where would you start scanning? I would start at the end, go backwards, but who knows, that could be anywhere. This is a difficult passage. It really is difficult to do, so it could be anywhere, but I would start at the end, just because this is like the second half, but it really could be anywhere. Scan, 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 or scan, scan, scan. Basically I'm looking for British or UK, or something about the UK. There's USA, and then finally I see British over there. So that makes me think, okay, let me look around here, and then I see guardrails over there. Okay, so what else do we need? Maybe some pedestrians. Now I want to see, is it 1 paragraph or 2? Pedestrians, psychological. And yes, we do see pedestrians. Keep on scanning. There's pedestrian over there. And I see psychological over there. So that's very interesting. So basically we can see, and it's not easy, this scanning, but if you do your scanning calmly, patiently, then you can discover that this two paragraph summary is from this portion of paragraph E. And that was quite a big step for this reading, is to find this, because it wasn't easy. And if you could find that quite quickly, then you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 marks are in here, and that makes it a bit easier. 7 marks in here, and then you really want to focus on getting all of those 7 marks, because you know that this is a difficult, very difficult question type. So we really want to focus on getting all 7 of these, and then maybe we get lucky, 1 or 2, maybe we can get 3, and then it's 10 out of 13. It's not so bad for a very difficult reading. So now we're going to spend some time on this, and one of the most important things here is the grammar is going to help you with these answers. So we're really going to look at the grammar. Right, so guardrails were introduced on British roads to improve. So this is the infinitive phrase at the end of a sentence to say why. Why were guardrails improved? To improve the something of pedestrians. So what are we looking for here? This could be, well, it's a noun because it's noun phrase to, but it could be countable, it could be uncountable. We just know that it's a noun. So let's just go and find pedestrians. La 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 la, scan, and here is pedestrian. This to is actually belongs to solution 2. It's not an infinitive. And so we see safety over there, pedestrian safety, the safety of pedestrians. Quite simple. It's just a change from noun phrase 1 and noun phrase 2. They often do this in the reading. I've also seen them do it in the listening, listening part 4, where they switch between noun phrase 1 and noun phrase 2 between the text and the answer. Just switch it around and have a preposition in between there, or the other way around. So just be aware they do switch between noun phrase 1 and noun phrase 2 quite often in these, between text and answer. If you don't know what noun phrase 1 and noun phrase 2 are, then go and look at my task 1 academic band 6 course. It's in the first video. Great. So we're quite happy enough to have the safety of pedestrians. Right, while ensuring that the movement of something is not disrupted. The movement of something is not disrupted. Now, I just really want you to notice that. What does that is mean? Because it's talking, this is the verb, this is the subject. So what does that is mean about this? Sorry, actually it doesn't mean anything in this case, because that is talking about the movement, because this is the main part. This is the whole noun phrase. The is refers to the movement. Okay, so no, we can't get any information there. I mean, it could be plural over there. It doesn't matter. The movement of people, the movement of dogs, and we would still use is. Okay, so the movement of something is not disrupted. Let's see if we can find anything. Not disrupted, movement. And so we were over here based on models that prioritize the smooth flow of traffic. Flow is movement, like a river flows. And we could go on and check. It's always a good thing to do, to check what this is, so we can find where this stops. Pedestrians are led to access points. Let's see if there's anything about that. Guide pedestrians to specific crossing points. That's guide, is to guide, to lead pedestrians to access points. So this one over here, it's a good idea to do this, is jump ahead and just see where everything is. You don't have to do it one at a time. That one over there is coming from somewhere over here. So we had our answer there, so it must be in this phrase over here, and it can only be one thing. We're looking for a noun, and it's this is smooth flow. Not movement is not disrupted. The movement flows smoothly. It can only be traffic. That's the only noun that's actually there, and if you think about it, it makes sense. Movement of traffic. Right, pedestrians led to access points and encouraged to cross one something at a time. Now this must be, there's our adjective one, so this must be a singular noun, one something at a time. So we're looking for a singular noun. It's quite a difficult answer. So they guide them to the crossing points, slow down their progress across the road, blah, 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 blah. There's access points. Access points, encouraged to cross one something at a time. singular noun. To divide the crossing into two, and there's our one for each. Actually, that's the one, and there's our noun, singular noun. If you think that's difficult, and it is quite difficult, this word, because there's no one in front of it, there's each in front of it. But really, here's our access point. We know that we're going to be in this sentence. How many singular nouns are there actually here? There's one over there, and there's one over there. So it's either road or carriageway. One for each carriageway should give you the answer. But the grammar did help you because we're looking for a singular noun, and there weren't many singular nouns there. It wasn't an easy answer, but the grammar did help. Right, on we go. An unintended effect is to create psychological difficulties crossing the road, particularly for less something people. Okay, so what are we looking at here? What's the grammar? Stop the video if you don't know. What is the grammar? Of course, this is an adjective. Less comes before an adjective, and anyway, there's a noun there, so we must have an adjective over there. Less something people. Particularly for less something people. Here's our psychological. That's over here. Psychological difficulties, psychological barriers. Particularly for something about people. Psychological barriers impacting those that are the least mobile and encouraging others to make dangerous crossings. Can you see there's something about people, and that's actually the reference to people. We often do, not often, it looks like that. There's actually a people there, and we drop it and just say those. So those that are the least mobile. Here's less. Where is our adjective? There is our adjective there. Pretty straightforward. Right. And then again, another result is that some people cross the road in a, but there is our noun. Again, what do we need over here? In a something, an adjective way. Cross the road in a something way. We were over here encouraging others, that's other people, to make crossings to get around the guardrails. Somewhere over here. Dangerous, adjective, yes. Another result is that they cross in a dangerous way. Adjective. So as you can see, this wasn't very easy to do, except if you use the grammar. Then it really helps you to choose which words you should be looking for. The guardrails separate the guardrails separate something. So we don't see in front of it, so this is going to be a plural noun or an uncountable noun. The guardrails separate. I guess separate is our key word. We're looking over here. These barriers don't just make it harder to cross the road. They separate, divide, plural noun right there. Separate, divide is what you needed to do there. Communities, and make it more difficult to introduce forms of transport that are, once again, in this case it's adjective after the verb to be. Remember, there's two kinds of adjective before a noun and adjective after the verb to be. Here's our verb to be. We want another adjective over here, adjective after to be. Transport, what do we want? Forms of transport that are. Introduce forms of transport that are. Where are we? Sorry. Forms of transport that are. Decrease opportunities for healthy transport. We're looking for an adjective. So they've just switched here between the two kinds of adjective. Adjective before noun, and switch that to adjective after to be, and the to be is for that noun. So, of course, healthy. Now, that wasn't too bad, especially as you can see we had adjective, 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 plural noun, single noun, and nouns and nouns. So the grammar could have helped you a lot. If you found this, and if you found guardrails, then you would have narrowed it down to just there and gotten 7 marks out of that. So you could really spend a good 15 minutes just focusing on making sure that you get those 7 marks, and then go through these really quickly and maybe try and guess a couple. I mean, if you can just get 3 out of 6, that's great, even 2 out of 6. So one way to handle this reading passage would be to really make sure you get these 7. Spend a lot of time on those 7. Alright, let's move on and see what we can see over here. Right, so because I advise that you're going to spend most of your time, a lot of your time on this one, making sure you get those, we're going to go through this fairly quickly and not let it waste too much time. Now, students often ask me about this question type because it's one of the more difficult question types, and what is the strategy for this? And generally the strategy is that you're going to find keywords and then you're going to do one paragraph at a time. And so you're going to go from the questions to the text. That's not the only possible strategy. You can also do it the other way around. You can go to a paragraph. Let's say you start with paragraph A and you read it quite in detail, and then go through the questions and see if you can find something that's similar. And which way is better? I can't really tell you. There's no better way. The key is to just go with what you feel in the actual test. You need to be able to do it both ways, and then just go with what you feel in the test. Be flexible. And that's one of the most important skills about the reading test, is that you're flexible with different strategies, and you can apply different strategies whenever you feel like that one is suitable. So for this one, usually I would say go through it, check keywords. We can do that. Also, what I always do is just to see if anything here is in here, because it very often is. So let's just look at that. Reference to an appealing way of using dance that the writer is not proposing. These negatives are always useful. So I can't see an appealing way of using dance. Maybe appealing way is it's not a strong keyword, but the not is definitely quite strong. Example of a contrast between past and present. Past and present. That's quite nice. An objective of both dance and engineering. That's a very vague keyword, not so great. A goal, an objective. So far nothing really great, except past and present is quite nice. An unforeseen problem from ignoring the climate. That's quite good. Climate is a nice keyword. Something about the climate. Why some measures intended to help people are being reversed. I guess reversed, not great keywords. Impact on human lives. I mean, come on, it could be anything. That's nothing there. No great keywords. So the ones that I'm going to be looking for is this past and present, and maybe something about the climate. I didn't see anything that was really here. So this is about pedestrians, guardrails, crossing the road. I didn't really see anything. So unfortunately that didn't help us. But very often when they have these two question types together, one of these is actually in here somewhere anyway, but not in this case. So now what do? You've got some keywords, some of them okay, some of them not great. Now you've got to go and look at each paragraph, and unfortunately you've got to do a detailed reading, but it's kind of a combination between skimming and detailed reading, and then you got to see if you can see anything. So one possible strategy is to start with the shorter paragraphs, and it's a good strategy. The problem with that is often IELTS knows that you're doing that, and so they make the one with the shorter paragraph really difficult. Just be aware there are 7 paragraphs here, there are 6 over here. You must always check that. 7 paragraphs and there's only 6 over here. So it means we will be skipping one. I would expect to skip this one because we already used it, but not always. Nothing is always in IELTS. Anyway, so what I would probably do is don't try and get 6 out of 6 here. You've got like 5 minutes left, 6 minutes left. You want to get 3 that you're sure of, and then guess 3 and then move on. If you try and get 6 out of 6, you can easily end up with 0. I would try and get 7 out of 7 and 3 out of 6. That's your goal here. So what does that mean? That means you're not going to read it all and try and find everything. You're going to go to one paragraph and make sure you find that paragraph. So let's look at a small paragraph. B, C, D is quite small. We're going to ignore E, F, G maybe. A is quite big. So let's start with B. And then now time for some detailed reading. Not to suggest everyone should dance their way to work, however healthy and happy it might make us. It's very difficult, but the not is there. I'm not suggesting. That is not to suggest. That means the writer is saying, I am not suggesting. Can you remember we had not? The writer is not suggesting. The writer is not proposing. An appealing way of using dance. And appealing is nice, positive. Dance your way to work. Appealing because it would be happy and healthy. So yes, it's there. I think the not maybe gave it to you, but it was a difficult one. Don't worry if you didn't get it. The point is, skip it, move on. We're trying to find some easy ones over here. Right, so nothing really from B unless you saw the not suggesting, not proposing. Then try C, whereas. Medieval builders. This is a difficult word but important. It means in the something like the 1300s, 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, sometime around there. It's in the past, about 500 years ago. Improvised, blah, 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 blah. Building designs are now conceived and stored in media. So basically this sentence is saying in the old times builders did this, but now we're using technology. So it's actually these two words that are contrasting. They're contrasting with this whereas in the past and now. So we saw something like that. Past and present approaches to building. So I think that one wasn't too bad. You could probably get that one. No. Right. An objective of both dance and... Oh, no, we're not doing that. We're going paragraph by paragraph. This is a bit big. Maybe we can skip it. That's very big. Let's skip it. Let's try F or G. We'll try F. If they had the tools to think with their bodies, there might have been a better solution. I like solution because solution is an objective. No, a goal is not a solution. So no, I can't really see anything. To bring about changes to the way engineering will need to develop a better understanding of why people move. Choreography, however, it shares with engineering the aim of designing patterns of movement with limitations of space. So yes, an objective of both dance and engineering. So a bit of detailed reading there. It shares. What is it? It is choreography, which is actually dance. Dance shares with engineering the aim of designing patterns of movement within limitations of space. So aim and objective were the synonyms there. Very difficult. You can be maybe you didn't get that one and skip it. That was very difficult because it's a lot of detailed reading. Okay, unforeseen problem from ignoring the... Oh, no, sorry, we're going backwards. So now what do? We've looked at B, we've looked at C, found some, maybe some, maybe didn't. Let's look at G. Turns out, if you read G, that would have been nothing, because there's nothing there. unfortunately, but you don't know that, so you have to read it. And it's a smaller paragraph, so yes, we have to read it. Turns out there was nothing. So then what do? I guess go back to A and D and E and see if we can find something there. A, what are we looking for? It's nice if you can delete a few of these. That's one thing. Climate, help people being reversed, and how transport has had an impact on human lives. This definitely seems like an introductory paragraph kind of thing. So I'm looking for that really. How has transport affected human lives? Transportation, 30% of any consumption. More and more people travel. The ways we travel affect our physical and mental health, social lives, access to work. So I guess it's that sentence. So yes, definitely there. This is detailed reading, and I'm sorry, but there's no easy way of doing this at this stage. There's no tips and tricks that can help you find this faster. You've got to choose a paragraph, read it in detail. Sometimes the paragraph actually helps you, but this is actually quite difficult language. It's an advanced English language text. The sentences are often very long. For example, look at that. That's one sentence. I mean, that's a long sentence, and that makes it more difficult to understand. So the detailed reading is problematic with this one. It's a very difficult text. As I said, it's a reading 3, and they're calling it a reading 1. Anyway, so then we'll go to D and find something about climate. We're looking at E and D. I'll just tell you where it is, because there's no other way. There's no easy way. Find something about climate, and unfortunately it's just the hot sun. That's the reference to climate. Again, not so easy. And then this one, it's a pity because it was actually from here, and it was difficult to see because it wasn't in the stuff that we covered. It wasn't in all of this because we stopped. We went from here to there, and that was enough. But it was just over there in that last sentence. Many guardrails are now being removed. So some measures intended to help people, that's the guardrails, are being reversed, are being removed. So unfortunately, it's interesting because it shows us that the theory is true, that very often something that is over here will be in one of these. It's just that we missed it just by one sentence, just over there. It was there. So maybe we should have read that when we were doing the summary, just to make sure that we cover everything. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so look, a very strange, very difficult passage 1. If it freaked you out, please don't let it freak you out. I don't know why they do this. Sometimes it's not common. Maybe 95% of the time they don't do it, but here they've taken a passage 3 and they've called it a passage 1. I don't know why. Why is it passage 3? Because they're talking about an abstract topic and not about a concrete thing. They're talking about an idea. 2, the language itself is very difficult. Big, long sentences and some difficult vocabulary and all of that sort of thing. I mean, again, look at that. That's a big, long sentence. This whole paragraph is just these 3 sentences, and 2 of them are big, long sentences. That's reading 3 sort of material. And then the third reason why it's a reading 3 is because, of course, the question types. That's reading 3 sort of question types. So don't let it freak you out. Let's just move on with it. It's good. It's all good practice. If you take one thing from this, it's to learn. If you get something strange in the test, don't freak out. Stay calm and keep fighting, and just tell yourself, I can do this. Just stay calm and go through your strategy. It's very likely that in your test you will get something strange. So you must be prepared for it. Psychologically, you must be prepared for it. All right, great. Let's move on to passage 2. Thank you.